Welcome back. In this video, I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about careers in finance because obviously that's something that people care a lot about and it's something that you probably will not find in any textbook. I did want to do this section justice. Okay, so there's a lot of changes happening in finance right now. I thought I should front run some of those. Things that you should know about finance or the financial industry. Salaries are typically high relative to other industries, but the work hours can be quite long, especially if you're talking about going into investments, say investment banking, private equity, those areas. Now, most new jobs, there's a benefit. They do come with some work from home component. So that might be 1 or 2 days a week you get to work from home. Most firms are just moving in that direction. You should also be prepared to be a lifelong learner. You need to be up to date on new technology, new certifications, new changes in regulation. So as long as you're in this industry, you need to be reading, you need to be learning. And then finally, a lot of areas in finance, say like financial planning or financial analysis, they are going to require additional certifications or degrees beyond the bachelor's level. So we'll talk about those in a sec. Okay, so what areas exist in finance? This is by no means a comprehensive list, but we have financial analysis, financial planning, real estate, corp fin, banking, fintech, portfolio management, which I guess technically is part of investments. There's all kinds of operations in international finance, and then you could make the case that insurance and pension management they're in the financial sphere, but there's a lot of other areas or subfields of finance that I don't have here, but you can see the industry is quite broad. Okay, so let's start off with commercial banking. Now, commercial banking, this is very popular in the Midwest. Typically, commercial banking is going to employ more people than most other areas of finance. This is one of the big areas of financial service industry. Typically, Ball State, we send a lot of people to banks. Corporate finance, this typically involves going to work for a firm as the treasurer of the firm. It does require a large, broad understanding of the functional areas of a business and learning how to manage cash. So a lot of your business finance skills, that's where you're going to get value out of that. Financial planning, typically this would be financial planning or financial advising. I would recommend if you're going to go into this area where you're advising clients, you get the CFP certification, which I'll talk about in a second. Insurance, that's going to be, there's many areas of insurance from the P&C, your property and casualty side, to the life and health side. Insurance is pretty broad, but you can work in investments for an insurance firm, or you could work as an actuary. Investment banking, typically these are the bankers that help organizations raise capital through debt issuances or equity issuances or some other type of issuances. Okay, so let's talk about the pay for different types of financial professionals. So I pulled this data, a week ago, so the numbers are quite fresh. So financial managers, when we talk about financial managers, these are essentially your corporate finance experts. They typically develop financial reports, they perform a lot of treasury operations, they develop plans for the long-term financial goals of an organization, and your median pay is well above the average in the US. We are expecting to see a very, very high growth rate in this industry long-term, which is just fantastic. Next, we have financial analysts, and these are the individuals that analyze companies, so the securities of stocks and bonds of said companies, so think like equity analysts, bond analysts, etc. High salaries, long work hours, I'd say, and still high growth rate in this field. And then finally, we have personal financial planning or advising. There is a difference there, but planners, they are more holistic. Advisors just provide one-off information. So personal financial advisors as a whole, their median salary as of 2023 was just shy of 100,000 with a pretty high growth rate. This has actually come down a bit. Back in 2016, that growth rate was like 33%. Now I think it's slowed off a little. Okay, so obviously we'll talk about this in class if you have more questions about those different fields, but where can you go to find information about jobs in any field? Quick answer, the website of the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, the BLS has information on just about every industry, every different discipline you could possibly imagine. I mean, you want to know how much you could make as a math teacher or someone with a degree in mathematics, it's right there. If we want something in the business or financial sector, we can find it. And here we have a range of different, career paths. So if you're interested, this is one of the most awesome websites you could possibly use to find out, what are the expectations before you actually get into an internship. Okay, so that's that. Now, I did want to talk about some specific areas of the financial industry. Specifically, I wanted to talk about the CFA or financial analysts and financial planning. Why? Well, it's because at Ball State, we have different tracks that set you up perfectly for becoming a financial analyst or a financial planner. So we'll start off with the CFA, or the Chartered Financial Analyst Certification. So CFAs, this certification is the top certification for individuals that analyze different securities in the investment space. And Ball State does offer a scholarship for taking your first exam. To become a CFA, you do have to complete a series of 3 exams. They're pretty grueling. I'd say the pass rate for the first 2 is less than 50%. And the third one is going to be a pass rate of about 50 to 60%. So this is sometimes considered the most grueling exam or set of exams in the world today, but the benefits are obviously there. I mean, this is the top certification in the investments industry. What does it take to become a CFA? Well, you need to have 4 years of job experience, and you need to pass the 3 exams. Typically, we say that it's going to require about 300 hours of pure prep time per exam. There's actually a website called 300 Hours that gives information on the CFA exams. We've had a number of students from Ball State pass the first exam or the level 1 exam in each of the last couple of years. So we have a pretty good track record. However, I will say, this is a big undertaking. Make sure that if you're going to take this exam, you set aside an appropriate amount of time. I'm a CFA myself. I can tell you it is pretty grueling. It's a lot like taking the actuarial exams, if you know anything about those. Now, the CFA Institute, they oversee the program, and quite frankly, we do have a good network with CFA Indy. If you're looking to network in this field and find a job, in addition to taking these exams, this would be a good place to start. Next, I wanted to talk about financial planning. So financial planners, typically these are the individuals that help clients manage their finances and achieve personal goals like being able to retire at a certain time, be able to send their kids to college, be able to, buy a boat in 10 years, that kind of stuff. And CFPs, I would argue this is the top or the most respected credential in financial advising. The requirements for this CFP certification are between 2 to 3 years worth of work experience. Typically, we say about 2,000 hours per year is full-time. And then you have to pass the CFP exam, which is 170 questions, multiple choice. It's pretty grueling. It's about 5-6 hours worth of exam. Again, I've passed this. It's no joke. You would definitely want to devote about 300 hours to this exam. And then you'll have to complete an ethics statement. Basically, you commit to being a fiduciary at all times, always acting in the best interest of your client. Now, Ball State does offer a financial planning minor to get you prepared, because in addition to these 3 bullet points, you have to have completed coursework in 6 specific classes. And those 6 classes are essentially what we offer in the financial planning minor. Each of these classes have to be taken before you can sit for that CFP exam. So intro to investments, hey, you're knocking out 1 requirement just by taking this course. Risk and insurance, federal taxation, and then the capstone class, cases in financial planning. I teach this one as well. So it's literally, I ask people to cover cases in financial planning and put together a financial plan for a fictitious client or sometimes not a fictitious client, and then present their plan to the rest of the class. So all of this course material is designed to get you comfortable with everything that financial planners are expected to do. And the big question is, why would you want to get this certification? Well, quite frankly, I think I have it here, but financial planning is, once you get past the first couple of years, it's one of the most stable areas of finance. If you are able to build a book of business or a set of clients, that's it. I mean, you just assist those clients and in managing their finances for the rest of their lives, and you really don't have a whole lot of worry about market volatility. Good pay. I will say, if you're interested, the CFP board just put out a survey, or the results of a survey. If you want to look up how much it is if you have 5 to 10 years of experience, or 10 to 20 years of experience, or if you work at certain types of registered investment advisors, you can find it here. This is, if you want to know how much you could make potentially at each stage of your career, click this link. But the money is quite good once you get past the first couple of years. Okay, so let's say that you don't know where to look for a job, whether it's as a CFA or CFA candidate or a financial planning student. Where do you find jobs in the financial industry? Well, number one, absolutely the best way to find jobs in finance is to network, is to go out and talk to people who are already in the industry. I cannot stress this enough. Go to the meetings of the industry organizations like the CFA Institute. They have an Indianapolis chapter. They have a Chicago chapter. Go to these meetings. Talk to people, because when your resume comes across their desk, they're going to remember you. Also, for financial planning, there's an organization called the FPA of Greater Indiana. I go to that just about every quarter. I cannot recommend this highly enough. Go there. Talk to financial planners. If you're interested in banking, go to meetings of the Indiana Bankers Association. I've not been to those, mostly because I focus on CFA and CFP stuff, but I can't imagine that it would hurt. Networking is key in this industry. Next, you can look on websites. So the CFP board, they have a career center for potential financial planners. It lists internships, full-time job offers. CFA, same thing. We have CFA Indy. We have the broader CFA Institute website. For other websites, you could look at the Financial Management Association, or FMA's website. They typically have a section for job seekers with bachelor's degrees, with master's degrees, with PhDs. And then there's other places like the IBA. Typically, they have some set up with Ball State where they'll help place Ball State banking minors if they complete the minor at Ball State. And then there's a lot of other places out there, like this week we'll get you registered with the Bloomberg terminal. You can type in jobs on the terminal in the search bar, and it'll bring up jobs around the world that potentially you could apply to. Okay, where else can you look? Well, there's a lot of places. LinkedIn Careers has been a good place for a number of my students in the past. Try it. eFinancial Careers seems to have a lot of jobs that are posted. Indeed.com, and then ultimately your own network. So again, this is why you network. I mean, this is why you go out to every event you possibly can. If you need to miss a class to go to a networking event, that's a no-brainer in my eyes. I mean, that you need to make that decision. Absolutely. Okay, so knowing all of that, knowing where you go and look for an internship or a job, who gets the best jobs? Well, from what I've seen as a professor who sees where my students are placed, the best candidates are typically going to have, or the candidates who have the best jobs coming out are typically going to have one or more internships. I've seen students come out with 3 different internships. So they were doing an internship between sophomore and junior year, junior and senior year, and then maybe during a semester they had an internship. Also, if you have skills with a certain program like the Bloomberg terminal, that's something you need to add to your resume. Obviously, you're taking my class, so you're going to have skills with the Bloomberg terminal. So be sure to add that to your resume. Excel, we're going to be using Excel an enormous amount in this class. Make sure you mention that in your resume. Python, you might not appreciate it now, but Python is ubiquitous in finance. If you've never messed around with Python, I encourage you to mess around with it. I do teach a class called Advances in Finance where I teach a little bit of Python. So if you want, I can guide you in the right direction. And then financial planning software. You can get some experience with this in our major. If you take cases in finance or cases in financial planning, you'll get some experience with Money Guide Pro. So that's good. All right. So being able to say that you have specific skills, that is good. Make sure that they're quantitative though. Just saying that I've got a sparkling personality. I hate to say it. No one really cares in finance. What can you do? That's what's more important. Although you do need to demonstrate your good personality, mostly because nobody wants to work with someone that is just unpleasant to work with. I mean, if I have two candidates and one has a better resume, but is just impossible to work with, you can't hold a conversation with them, I'm going to choose the other candidate. Why? Because I may have to work with them for 20 or 30 years. So good personalities, they shine through. That's an unsung quality of a good worker. Also, if you can demonstrate progress towards some certification like the CFA or CFP, good signal. That's a fantastic signal. If you're going into an interview and you've got the first CFA exam passed, or even some lower level industry exam passed, like the SIE exam, that's a signal to a potential employer that you are a hard worker and you're relatively intelligent. So having some signal of your quality, absolutely good. And then also all the intangibles, or I shouldn't call these intangibles, but being able to demonstrate a good work ethic. Even if you've got a stellar resume, let's say you don't turn things in timely or in a timely manner, or you show up late. I mean, quite frankly, if I have two candidates, I'm choosing the person with the good work ethic because I can actually train them. The best ability out there is availability. So these are the skills that I think you should have. Okay, so let me summarize. There are many different career tracks in finance. A lot of them result in careers where you make at least $100,000 median, at least after about a couple of years. The CFA certification is a must if you want to be in the investment industry. The CFP certification is a must if you want to be a financial advisor or financial planner, obviously. And then you can use other websites like the Bureau of Labor Statistics website to find out more information on any career. So with that, I'm going to end this video. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.